Welcome to our daily YouTube session. In today's class, we will discuss the issue with respect to the news that you all must have read that Kejriwal is being summoned, why CBI wants to question the Delhi CM in excise policy case. No doubt, the news may appear a bit of political to you, but what we will be covering from this news is that is the institution of CBI. Institutions have always been important with respect to the UPSC examination, whether that is prelims or whether that is mains. So, we will try to cover the institution of CBI from both the perspectives. So, let us start with our first slide, where we will try to know about how central basically Bureau of Investigation came into being and what are its functions. So, CBI, it was established as a special police establishment. If we talk about the historical context, that is with respect to the British period, that CBI was established as a special police establishment in 1941 with a specific purpose, that was to investigate the cases of corruption in the procurement during the Second World War. That is why basically with the specific purpose the CBI was established. But after independence, the establishment of CBI was done on the basis of recommendations of Santhaman Committee on Prevention of Corruption, that basically gave its report in the period of 1962 to 1964, and in 1963 the institution of CBI came into being in the post independence era. So, further the CBI, it is very important, it is not a statutory body, but rather it derives its power to investigate from the Delhi Special Police Establishment Act, that is 1946. So, we have very few, what we say, enormous facts with respect to the prelims examination. First of all, the thing that can be asked is whether CBI is a statutory body. So, that is no, it is not a statutory body. Then the committee on the basis of which it was established, then the year basically 1963, whether what was the historical background, that was special police establishment basically in 1941. No doubt it is basically not a statutory body, but it derives its powers from Delhi Police Establishment, Delhi Special Police Establishment Act, that is 1946. So, quite a few of what we say facts that we have here with respect to the prelims examination. Then it provides assistance to Central Vigilance Commission and the Lokpal with respect to the cases that happen under the Prevention of Corruption Act. Further, it functions under the superintendence of the Department of Personnel, that is Ministry of Personnel, Pensions and Public Grievance, Government of India, which falls under the Prime Minister's office. So, earlier it was under the Ministry of Personnel, then it was basically shifted to the Ministry of Home Affairs. So, these are some facts with respect to the Central Bureau of Investigation. Further, moving forward, we will come to the point basically what are the basic functions of the CBI as an institution. See, its very primary function is to prevent corruption and maintain integrity in the administration. It works under the supervision of CVC in matters pertaining to Prevention of Corruption Act 1988. Early in other cases basically it acts as a nodal agency, but with respect to the Prevention of Corruption Act, okay, it works under the presidence of what we say or supervision of CVC. Next basically very important function is it investigates the cases connected to the infringement of economic and fiscal laws, that is breach of laws concerning customs and central excise, export and import, income tax, issues with respect to scams with respect to the foreign exchange regulation. But all these cases, it is a very important point that can be helpful with respect to your prelims examination also. Cases of this nature are taken by the CBI either at the request of the department concerned or in consultation with the concerned department. When the department requests for a CBI inquiry, it investigates the cases with respect to the economic and fiscal law. So, just for your retenance, what are the two primary functions basically here that are performed by the CBI? One is with respect to corruption, then second one is with respect to economic and fiscal laws that create issue like basically central excise tax, national income tax, basically foreign what we say exchange regulations. Further, moving on to our next slide, it also investigates the cases that are of very serious nature, that have national and international ramifications and are committed by professional criminals or organized gangs. Further, it tries to coordinate the activities of the various state police forces and anti-corruption agencies. Next, at the behest of the state government, the CBI can take up any case of public importance and investigate it. You try to remember, basically it was a very huge issue with respect to last year, when many states like Andhra Pradesh, West Bengal, they tried to, or even some states did, basically they withdrew their consent with respect to the permission that has been given to the CBI to take up the cases that happen in the state areas. Then maintaining crime statistics and disseminating criminal information. Then India is also a representative at Interpol. So, what can be this question can be, as it is asked with respect to your mains examination also, that what are the functions that are performed by the CBI? You can say that basically it investigates the cases of corruption, issues with respect to fiscal and economic laws, then issues which have national and international ramifications, then coordinate with other agencies to deal with the issues, then producing crime statistics, and is also the representative of India at Interpol. Moving forward, see, we also need to understand the type of cases that are, just give me a second, basically there is a misprint here, the type of cases that are handled by CBI. Okay, type of cases that are handled by CBI. First is one with respect to the special crimes for investigation of serious and organized crimes under the Indian Penal Code and other laws on the request of state governments or on the orders of Supreme Court and High Court. Again, you need to remember this thing. Basically, earlier state governments had provided a general consent, basically that was provided to the CBI, that whenever a state government requests to the CBI or any issue that happens in the state government area, CBI could come and basically investigate that case. But now, with respect to each and every case that CBI wants to investigate in the states, it will have to gain a consent from the state government. If state government denies the consent, then CBI cannot investigate that case unless basically orders are also given by the Supreme Court and the High Court that you investigate that particular case. Then case may be related to terrorism, bomb blast, kidnapping, ransom crime committed by the mafia or the underworld. Then second one is with respect to economic crimes for the investigation of major financial scams and serious economic frauds, including relating to fake Indian currency notes here basically. Then cyber crime issues are there, then import and export foreign exchange violations are there, large scale smuggling issues are there. All these type of economic crimes, they are also investigated by the CBI. Moving forward, then you have here basically that are anti-corruption crimes. Anti-corruption crimes for investigation of cases under the, again we have highlighted earlier also, under the Prevention of Corruption Act, against public officials and the employees of central government, public sector undertakings, corporations or bodies that are owned or controlled by the state government. Means anything that can be given a public status here. Okay, if any issue or crime happens with respect to that thing, then it can be investigated by the CBI. Then there are some suo motu cases that are also taken up by the CBI, especially with reference to the union territory. Suo motu cases can be only taken up by the CBI in case of union territories. The central government can authorize the CBI to investigate a crime in the state. We have earlier discussed this also, but only with the consent of the concerned state government. Then Supreme Court and the High Court can order the CBI to investigate a crime anywhere in the country without the consent of the state. I have earlier also highlighted this, that if CBI wants to investigate a case in the state governments basically, or the states, then it will have to gain a consent from the state government. There is an exception to it. If Supreme Court and the High Court gives its order that CBI can investigate the case, then it does not need the consent of that particular state government. So, what we have discussed so far is that what is the historical background of the CBI, how it was established, then what are its functions, and then what are the type of cases that are basically handled by the CBI. Moving forward, just give me a second. Now, the question that can be asked with respect to mains examination from this particular area is that what are the issues with respect to the CBI. We know that it is a basically very important agency with respect to dealing of crimes and dealing with the issues of corruption, but there have been serious issues with respect to credibility, okay, of the CBI. So, what are the issues? First issue that you have here is that is the political interference. The Supreme Court of India has criticized the CBI by calling it a caged parrot, that it speaks in its master's voice due to the excessive political interference in its functioning. And why that is so the case? Because you need to know that it does not enjoy a statutory status. It is completely dependent upon the whom, basically that is central government. Okay, that is why excessive political interference. Then delayed investigations. It has been accused of enormous delays in concluding investigations with respect to some serious scams. Okay, then terror attacks, where reports have not been submitted at the basically appropriate time. Then next issue we have is that is loss of credibility. Improving the image of the agency is one of the biggest challenges till now, as the agency has been criticized for mismanagement of several cases involving prominent politicians and mishandling of several sensitive cases like Bofors scandal, Hawala scandal, etc. Due to the basically political interference, okay, enormous outsider or external influence being called as that it is in a tool in hands of ruling government, it has caused a loss of credibility for the institution of CBI. Moving forward, then you have basically it has a huge shortage of personnel. A major cause for the shortfall of government's sheer mismanagement is the basically not adequate workforce, basically through thorough system of inefficient and inexplicably biased recruitment policies, which brings in favored officers possibly to the which are detrimental to the organization. First of all, not adequate personnel, then the personnel that those are brought basically specifically that are favored by politicians, then inefficient organization, all adds to the basically mismanagement of the resources of the CBI. Then limited powers. The powers and jurisdiction of the members of the CBI basically, as we have already done, they are subject to the consent of the state government, thus limiting the extent of investigation that can be done by the CBI. Then restricted access, prior approval of the central government to conduct an inquiry or investigation on the employees of the central government or on the level of joint secretary and above is the biggest obstacle in combating corruption. Whenever basically CBI wants to do investigation or inquiry against an official with the level of a joint secretary or above, it will have to gain the consent of a central government, otherwise basically it cannot perform a what we say inquiry against that official. So, what are the issues that are referred to here? Basically, one of them is a huge shortage of personnel, limited powers, restricted access, and the ones we did in our previous slide were they were of political interference, then loss of basically credibility, then time delayed basically processes of the CBI. Moving forward, now question can also be asked with respect to what can be done or what are the measures that can be taken to improve the position or the status of CBI. First of all is we need to strengthen the human resources by increasing the strength of CBI. Next one is we need to do better investments in infrastructure facilities. Next one is we need to increase financial resources and administrative empowerment with accountability. And most important one is we need to provide a statutory status through legislation. That is what that needs to be done. Moving forward, we will also come to our prelims question with respect to the topic that we have discussed. So, the question you have at hand is, first statement you have to consider the following statements, that CBI is a statutory body under the DPSC Act 1946. Second one is CBI works under the Ministry of Home Affairs, and you have to choose the correct among the following, one only, two only, both of the statements or none of the above. In our previous slides we have discussed that CBI does not have the status of statutory body, but it only derives its power from the DPSC Act 1946. So, this statement is wrong. Second one is it works under the Ministry of Home Affairs. In our slides we also discussed that it is under the Ministry of Personnel, but it was established under the resolution of Santhanaman Committee, basically that was by the Ministry of Home Affairs, but now it is under the Ministry of Personnel. Okay, so this statement is also wrong. So, the answer that we have here is none of the above. Thank you.